All right, let's talk football. Let's get into some landing spots with some player transactions or soon-to-be transactions. And a guy we got to start with is Russell Wilson. The Broncos officially will release him when the new league year opens on March 13th. Russ already has permission to seek out new landing spots, and three teams already in play here, guys. He met with the Giants, exploratory conversations.
It's a Russ-assance.
It's
a Russ-assance.
I already have
right
the Russ merch. I already have the stupid Russell, Danger Russ
How is
hoodie.
Big Blue Nation feeling about a potential Russ?
Yeah, let's ride.
Yeah, in New York City,
Not
in the
great.
taxi cab.
Yeah, not great in the community. The Giants
Let's hail.
community. Yeah.
Yes, let's hail a cab.
Yeah. No, my Giants fan friends, all of them, not that bullish about Russell Wilson. Because the thing is like, it's the same. It's like a different version of your Jacoby Brissett thing on the Commanders, where it's like, what's the point? What's the point of Russell Wilson? Like, the team isn't good enough around him to get to the Super Bowl or anything. So what, is he going to take the team from like 6 wins to 8 wins? Like, great, what's the point?
Yeah,
like,
it's exactly set a floor. Yeah. Honestly, it's exactly what it is.
So what are we doing? Is
fired.
it going to maybe save some jobs?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
That's your answer.
And so it's not going to help the long-term outlook of the team. They're not going to win the Super Bowl with him. At least if he goes to the Steelers, you could talk yourself into maybe, great defense. Russ, maybe he activates the skill position players in ways that Pickett and Rudolph could not. And maybe there is something there where they could, win a playoff game. Giants aren't doing anything with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, he's going to meet with the Steelers. He's going to meet with the Raiders. He'd be an upgrade for them as well. They might be too far out in the draft to get a quarterback, so that's why that might make some sense. One thing to note, too, I mean, his odds less than 24 hours ago to go to the Giants was plus 2,500 per DraftKings.
Yeah,
that is now plus 600. As you see the odds here, he's still favored to go to the Steelers at minus 200. Minus 300 now. That's moved. Plus 400 for the Raiders, plus 450 to the Vikings. But the Giants have significantly climbed upward, Matthew.
I think the interesting one here is the Vikings, and we'll get to Kirk Cousins in a second, but they could be in need of a quarterback, and they're not going to run back the Nick Mullins, Jaron Hall experience. So, look, I will say that with these markets, they're not super reliable and indicative of what's going to happen just because, they're low-limit markets. They move off of air. And so I wouldn't look into this, but he's definitely going to the Steelers. It does make a lot of logical sense. That would be the landing spot that makes the most sense. Though Minnesota kind of loom as an interesting team because they are a team where I do think he would make sense because the rest of the roster is so solid.
Well, I mean, and by the way, the other thing is that it sort of depends on what Russell Wilson wants at this stage of his career. He has made a ton of money, right? I mean, all the jokes aside about the contract, the fact of the matter is he's a very, very, very wealthy man. And so there's a scenario where he may say, I just want to go to the team that gives me the best shot at another Super Bowl. And I'm happy to give a team-friendly deal here. Or he may say, I want to make more money, or I want to go to the team that gives me the best chance to start. Exactly. But I think the Steelers, at the moment, there's not a quarterback job open on the Vikings. Of the jobs that are currently open in the market, the Steelers make the most sense. Because, again, whatever you think of Russell Wilson, he is an upgrade over Kenny Pickett. He is an upgrade over Mason Rudolph. To your point, they do have nice skilled players on the offense. They have a good defense. They made the playoffs last year. That's a playoff team. And so is Russell Wilson enough to, potentially get them over there? By the way, especially when you think about, again, we have a lot of fun at Arthur Smith's expense in the show, but as the new offense coordinator, you would think that a Russell Wilson-led offense on the Steelers under Arthur Smith would kind of be similar to what he did in Seattle in the sense we're going to be run heavy, we're going to take our shots downfield. Right. Russell still throws a good deep ball, right? I mean, and they have Pickens and Deontay Johnson, and so just be, try to make Russell hyper efficient, and the offense isn't around him. It's going to be we're going to run the ball and we're going to play good defense. We're going to be a Mike Tomlin team, right?
Yep. Connor, I think the big question is just how good do you think Russell Wilson is at football now? Right. Because I believe he was 18th in EPA per play, 18th in PFF grade, certainly looked like the 18th best quarterback in football, that type of range, perfectly average. But I mean, we're 2 years removed from a team giving him $250 million and him being everyone's trendy MVP pick. Is the Seattle guy there at all, or do you think he's just in a different phase?
No, I don't even think physically he's there anymore. But is he smart enough to manage the game, kind of what you're alluding to? I would think so, right? I think he's somebody also that still kind of refound that rushing element last year at times. That's a big thing we were wondering on this desk from a fantasy perspective, and it does play into actual football, is can you run a little bit as well? Because the Steelers, besides when Trubisky thought he could do it, have not had that element under center as well. So it's about finding the upgrade and about finding a guy that can take care of the football. And here's the other kicker, guys, of why there would be interest with him amongst these three teams. he could take a 1-year, $1.21 million deal because that's the veteran minimum, and he's still getting paid out that $39 million by the Broncos.
Exactly.
So he's probably signing a veteran minimum deal. So if you're a team, salary cap implications or not, right? You're not worried about that, or you are. Russell Wilson fits for you.
Here's the other thing that I would say here. Think about Russell Wilson's career. All right, so Russell Wilson, he's in Seattle, whatever. That for whatever reason that breaks up, right? So then he goes to Denver, and Nathaniel Hackett is named the head coach, and that is just a disaster. And whether that's Russell's fault with the separate floor office or whatever, and the quarterback coach that wasn't part of the team, or whether it's Hackett's, I think jury's still out. But certainly, there's a lot of blame that was placed on Hackett.
Yeah, everybody looks bad
right
now.
It looked bad. So then you go to, so now they go and they hire Sean Payton, who's the best, it's new ownership in Denver, and they bring in Sean Payton. So it's like they're sort of forced together. They're stuck together, right? They didn't choose, Russell Wilson and Sean Payton didn't choose each other. So it was kind of this like, hey, figure it out. Work together, you know what I mean? Like sort of like me and Jay, right? I mean, it's just kind of one of those things, right?
That's
We're
a good
just
comparison.
right, exactly.
Russell Wilson?
Right, exactly. I think you're Nathaniel Hackett.
That's the worst.
I feel like I'm Patrick Surtain in all of this, just kind of on the other side
No,
of the
jokes
ball.
aside,
Well appreciated.
But jokes aside, though, in all seriousness, though, but like now he's going to get to go to a situation where he's got full control. He can go to whatever team he wants to, and whatever team is going to want him. You know what I mean? So it's not a marriage. It's not a forced marriage the way it has seemed to be the last 2 years. He's going to be smart, I think, and go to a system that he feels like fits his style, that allows him to play, and it's going to be a team that wants him there.
Right.
That actually, like, hey, we want you here because we think we can win with you as well. And we can get out of Kirk Cousins as well, because that sort of ties into Russell Wilson. Because if Kirk Cousins leaves for Atlanta, which is what the current rumor is, then the Vikings, which have a playoff team, which have a team that has a lot of skilled players as well, also an improving defense, there's not a lot out there to replace Kirk Cousins.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotorWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.